Welcome to Everlasting Summer, part 41. I never pay attention to these numbers. I really should pay more attention to them. But yeah, we're back here, and we were just heading to the cabin for a rest. Well, actually, we had a rest, had a nap, and then knocking on the door woke me up. So, let's continue on. The knocks were soft, but insistent. I reluctantly got up and went to open it. Strangely, there was nobody on the doorstep. I rubbed my eyes and stepped out to look around. All the same, no one around. A dream, maybe? It was already 4 o'clock. I felt jaded. I probably shouldn't have slept in the afternoon. No, probably not. After all, I knew what was going to happen. I put on my boots, left the cabin, and locked the door. But where shall I go? Where shall I go? All in all, there's not much time till dinner. A sudden thought came to me that it'd be nice to refresh myself, so I went towards the beach. The sun passed the midday mark a while ago. It gets dark early here in the south. Really? I squinted and looked up at the flaming disc. Can't be any worse than... Unless it was the red text, and I'm like, did the sun just reply back to me? Who was that just now? I flinched. The same mysterious guy was standing in front of me. And once again, his face was hard to see due to the bright light. For a moment, the sun blinded me, so I could not see anything besides the faint contours of objects. Are you stalking me? No, it was just passing by, he answered calmly. Then you should know better. So you haven't seen anyone? Correct. I rubbed my eyes, but it did not help. Why didn't I see you at lunch? I asked bluntly. I wasn't hungry. He laughed. I blinked a few times and my vision came back, but the pioneer had miraculously disappeared once again. What the hell is going on here? Now I was absolutely sure that there was something strange about that guy. He must be directly related to everything happening around here. I'll have to find out. But for starters, it's good to confirm that I'm not mistaken, and that he's not just a local pioneer. It was quite crowded at the beach. It looked like everyone from the camp was here. Well, no wonder, it's so hot outside. Olga was standing just a bit further apart from everyone, keeping an eye on her army of pioneers. As soon as I thought that coming here might not have been the best idea, she noticed me. Hey, Semyon! You weren't at the lineup, and in general, you're just lounging around all day. I did not know how to answer. And just how are you planning on becoming a proper pioneer? She continued more softly. Olga, in the camp, is there a pioneer who looks a lot like me? She looked surprised. Maybe, I don't know. Why do you ask? How do you not know? Huh, I'm just curious. Well, we have a lot of boys here. Alright, never mind. Someone's yell came from the riverside and Olga rushed in its direction. Well, it looks like I will be spared a lecture. I lowered myself onto the sand and stared at the pioneers playing in the water. After a few minutes of sitting here, Oleana approached me. Why so sad? I'm not sad. Well, why are you here, sitting all alone? Just thinking. But what? I decided to spare her my story about the mysterious pioneer. Well, imagine that you are chatting with a weird person. And you have to figure out... it's just a weird person. You have to figure out what exactly is so weird about them. Simple. I'll just ask them. She laughed. Too simple. But he won't answer. How do you know? Have you tried asking? No, but it's obvious. Oleana did not answer, just sat down next to me and let out a tired sigh. I'm all swimmed out. And what if they know something, but won't tell you? Make them. But how? For a bit longer we sat talking about random things, and then I got up, said goodbye, and went away. It's time to find the mysterious stranger and get all the answers. The first place to visit was the bus stop. After all, this is where it all began. The road was empty, as always. Only small dust tornadoes were occasionally visible on it. I was ready to turn around and go back to the camp, but then I heard someone whisper, "Don't trust him." Someone was hiding behind the monument. A pioneer was sitting there with his back to me. And once again, the voice seemed strangely familiar. "Who are you?" I took a few steps towards him. "Stop, don't come any closer." For some reason I froze in my tracks. From somewhere deep inside, an assurance came to me, and I understood that I shouldn't argue with him. "Alright, I'll stay here." "Have you seen him? Talked to him?" he asked nervously. "Who are you even talking about?" He was dressed in a pioneer uniform. "You know who." And I definitely did know. He was talking about the weird pioneer I saw earlier. "Yes," I answered after a few moments of silence. "What did he tell you?" The pioneer asked in a pleading tone. "Nothing, really." "Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do? Threaten you?" "No, nothing like that. Of course, he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember, he may not be alone. Or more likely, he is alone, but you may meet many pioneers here who look like him." "And what about you? Who are you? Who are you hiding from?" "You'll understand. In time. Just remember, the most important thing is to find the exit." All of a sudden, a strong gust of wind came through, ripping leaves from the trees and throwing an old paper bag into my face. Shielding myself, I averted my eyes. When I looked back at the monument, the pioneer was already gone. At that moment, I was overwhelmed by fear. Real, almost tangible fear. I remember being scared during my first hours at this camp. But back then, everything seemed kind and friendly. Now Semyon revealed its fangs, getting ready to eat me. And ahead, the unknown. My body was covered in goosebumps, my throat was dry, and my hands were shaking. I tried to ignore it all and headed back to the camp. It was already dinner time, but I had no desire to go to the canteen. After meeting the second mysterious pioneer, just thinking about the locals made me, if not afraid, then at least creeped out. I don't even know who or what they all are. And even though nothing bad happened yet, it does not mean I can trust them. I stopped in front of the clubhouse, but then realized that this is not the best spot to be at. I could run into someone, which was not something I wanted to do at the moment. Almost running, I hurried towards the forest and walked a few meters along the path before finally stopping. On one side, the mysterious pioneer. Well, two of them to be precise. On the other, all the inhabitants of this camp who seemed absolutely normal. Either way, my decision to stand back and let everything resolve itself was under some mysterious pressure. At this point, it was clear to me I had to do something on my own. But what exactly? Everyone is probably having dinner. Everyone is probably having dinner. So I have a good chance to make it to Olga's place without being noticed. I decided to first take my clothes that I wore when I arrived here, along with my cell phone. I won't be able to come up with a solid plan right off the bat, so for the time being I might as well hide in the forest. I leaped up the steps and entered the building. My clothes were right where I left them, and my phone was where it was supposed to be, under my pillow. I quickly grabbed it and was ready to stuff it into my pocket, but then I noticed something on the screen. The message window was open. The text read, "Its music just stops. You're wrong, Semyon. You're so wrong." It felt like my soul had left my body. I froze on the spot. I was shaking and my blood was pumping so hard. It felt like my skull was going to burst open from the pressure. It took at least a full minute for me to come back to my senses. Olga could have typed in the message, or one of the pioneers. It's easy to figure out how to do it, even if they're not familiar with this technology. But no one besides me should know where I keep the phone. This event was the straw that broke the camel's back. I rushed out of the house, determined never to come back there. Night fell on the campgrounds. I had been sitting in the woods for a few hours, trembling at every noise. The spot that I chose was far away from the path, so it would be hard to find me. I was keeping a few plans in my head for the time being. To try to run, to kill every single person in the camp. What? However, on the other hand, one thought chased me and I realized that I shouldn't behave like this because of some strange pioneer, or even because of that message on the phone. All of this was reinforcing the thought that everything happening here was far from normal. However, there was no proof that anyone in the camp had anything to do with it. I could have stayed here until morning, lost in my own thoughts, but I heard footsteps coming from somewhere nearby. Oh, fuck's sakes. So you decided to escape after all. I turned around, but couldn't see the pioneer's face in the dark. Of course you couldn't. Nevertheless, I was pretty sure that it was him. I wasn't afraid then. More precisely, I was so physically exhausted that I was prepared for any possible course of events, and somehow managed to reason appropriately and to maintain the conversation. I wouldn't say physically exhausted. You weren't like running around or shit, but more like mentally exhausted. I wouldn't call this an escape, I answered slowly, stretching every word. And what is it? A tactical retreat. Brilliant. He burst into laughter. Listen, why don't you tell me what's going on? Who are you, and what do you want from me? What did that guy tell you at the gate? It seemed that he didn't even hear my question. He told me not to trust you. I lied. But on the other hand, I thought that it was what he meant. Well, that's always the way for him, running away, hiding. I could hear irritation in his voice. Not sure what kind of circus you were running here, but I'm not going to be a part of it. No, why not? You're the star, after all. I couldn't see his face, but I bet he was smiling. Explain my part to me, then. You know, I was like you in the beginning. The first time, everything went peacefully. Then I escaped. I tried to understand what's going on, got mad, and even tortured them to get to the truth. He laughed crazily. I shivered. But it was pointless, continued the pioneer after calming down a bit. Pointless. And then I began to notice the lapses. At first I just heard their voices, from a distance, and sometimes in my head. Then vague silhouettes appeared. Then they slowly took on physical form. And finally, they stepped into my world. I could touch them, introduce them to other pioneers. And they were all different. Different, do you get it? Different. He started shouting. And it recurred again and again. You can get used to the loops, but... Then I learned how to get into their worlds by myself, to interact with the others. But it turned out that I'm not alone. There are lots of us. Today you saw at least one more. He fell silent. I didn't know what question to ask and didn't want to interrupt his story, so I simply waited. After a minute, he continued. It's not that simple, of course. And it's not always possible. Only under certain circumstances. When you feel strong emotions, for example. I instantly remembered how I saw him the first time. The time when we didn't feel any emotions at all. Including the moments when you feel happy. As if he was reading my thoughts. I see. So you're trying to say that there are several parallel worlds, including the same camp with its inhabitants, where I am replaced by you or that guy I met at the bus stop. Yeah, something like that. His answer didn't surprise me at all. In the end, it's clear that whatever happens here is beyond the limits of human understanding, and this theory didn't even seem all that unusual. But you said that everything recurs. Yes, it recurs. And what will happen? Afterwards. You'll start from the very beginning. You'll wake in the bus, come to the camp, meet Olga, the girls, electronic. But if it happened to you, then why should it happen to me as well? It happens to everyone. Once again, he laughed hysterically. And how many loops have you experienced so far? I stopped counting them already. At first I tried to remember them, though. Maybe a few hundred. No wonder. It was very clear to me that this guy was suffering from a progressive mental dysfunction. But you searched for a way out, didn't you? He didn't answer. That's what that guy at the bus stop was talking about. Because he understands nothing, damn it. He shouted. Because he's just like you, constantly running away, hiding. What would you suggest then? If I had any suggestions, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you. Alright, but you were trying, weren't you? Are you trying to understand what I know, since I've been around here for a long time? He asked cheerfully. Well, that's evident. Yes, I did try to run away from here. There. He waved towards the forest. Is nothing there. Nothing but trees. When I'd been walking there for several days and finally passed out, I found myself in the bus again. Same for walking along the road. It's endless. Talking to somebody about that is pointless. You probably already understood that by yourself. I did. I interjected. Even if you try to explain your situation directly, at best you'd just be considered an idiot. What if you try to not leave the bus? It's pointless. Sooner or later, you'll be found. I even tried to spend the entire time there. In the end, I fell asleep, and everything started from the beginning. And what if you start it by yourself and leave? No keys. And I don't have any carjacking skills. A cursed cycle. Exactly. A long silence fell. Finally, I asked, and what about the people around here? Don't they raise absolutely reasonable suspicions? Suspicions? Laughter again. The only thing that is suspicious about them is that no matter how much you tell them, they stare at you with their eyes out on stalks. The people. I fear them at first too. Then I used them for different experiments. And now I don't consider them humans. They're all dolls. Puppets. You can easily predict any reaction, any word or action. So they aren't worth fearing, are they? The one worth fearing is yourself, he said softly. You know how funny it is when human bones crack as they slowly break from distension? Looks like he's finally lost his marbles. Listen, I understand everything, but the other one thinks that's a bit much too. But it doesn't matter. Nobody but you is real here. The pioneer suddenly fell silent. Well, no, I don't agree with you. You're probably thinking, why didn't I check this all by myself? Aren't you... No, why didn't I check this all by myself? Aren't you? Why I didn't try to reach the nearest village or town? Yes, I did have such thoughts. Why wasn't I suspicious? Why was I doing different stuff instead of searching for answers? Well, yes. Forget about it. That's normal. We all behave like this the first time here. But how many others have you seen so far? Not that many. The pioneer was lost in thought. About 10 people, maybe. But I'm sure there's many more. And... is everyone... like this? In fact, yes. Only the details are different, but the main thing is invariable. There's no way out of here. And, by the way, you're just like the majority of them. The only thing that differs is that you have heard everything from me instead of experiencing it yourself. I don't know if I should thank him for that. Oh, I expected that to continue. Well, then what now? Nothing, he said shortly. I closed my eyes and lost myself in thought. That was a critical mistake. When I opened my eyes, I didn't see anybody, just like the previous times. So it's clear what's going on now. You're hallucinating. But, in fact, how could everything he said guide me to an answer? Yes, I'm not alone. Yes, everything recurs. But what's the reason for all this? And what is more important? Where's the way out? Oh, and what is more important? What is the way out? Where's the way out? There is no way out. Didn't you listen? The only useful thing that I extracted from the conversation was that the local inhabitants were not worth fearing. And that was quite significant to me for now, since it was much better to sleep in a warm cabin instead of the forest. I sighed, took my things, and headed towards the camp. As I was walking, the conversation with my fellow sufferer popped up in my head every now and then. In my mind every now and then. Why did I not ask him about the message on my phone? And some other stuff. There were hints, after all. Maybe if I had found some details out, I could have drawn some conclusions. However, it didn't seem like our meeting would be the last one. The lights were on in Olga's cabin. I opened the door gently and went in. Speak of the devil, here you are. The camp leader said angrily. You usually speak of the devil if you're speaking with someone else about that. Like you're talking to another pioneer, like, where's Semyon? And then Semyon appears. Oh, speak of the devil. Olga, I'm so tired now. Let's put off the lecture. Tired from what, I wonder? Fucking all the girls. From everything. I snapped rudely. The camp leader looked at me with surprise. I fell into bed without undressing. Semyon, a role model pioneer shouldn't behave like that. And how should he behave then? Well, not like that. The camp leader stumbled for a moment, as if struggling to pick the right words. He should respect his seniors. I respect you immensely, for sure. Semyon. The sarcasm in my voice didn't go unnoticed. And now I'd like to sleep. Wait, by the way, how far is the nearest town? When does the bus arrive? How can I even get out of here? I asked in a surprisingly calm voice. There was no answer, and there shouldn't have been any. I said all this just in order to get rid of her. Why are you silent? I'm tired. Let's talk about that tomorrow. She's putting it on. The camp leader got up and turned off the light. Yes, it's all just like that guy, he said. Why did I speak to him so calmly and properly, I wonder? I should have been shivering from horror. That pioneer didn't have much credibility, but I had a feeling that he's unable to harm me. As soon as I thought that it would be a good idea to ask something else, fatigue overtook me and I passed out. Final day? I think we're on day 6. I can't remember what day we're on. Day 7. The bright sunlight was striking my eyes, even through my eyelids. I stretched out lazily and quickly got myself out of the bed. It was 2 p.m. Jesus Christ, guy. Looks like yesterday really finished me off and my body required much more time to recover than usual. I fucking walked around the camp for like 10 minutes. What do you mean? I had a stroll around the room, thinking of what I should do today. Obviously, my life in the camp would never be the same again after everything that I'd heard from that strange pioneer. And if everything's just as he said, I have plenty of time ahead. I grabbed my hygiene kit and went outside. I managed to take only a couple of steps as somebody ran into my back. I turned around and saw Elisa. Hey, be careful, she said indifferently and ran on her way. She held some kind of bag in her hands. Whatever. Yet another ordinary day in this crazy place. I finished brushing my teeth and then spent an eternity washing my face with ice-cold water to bring myself to my senses and refresh my head at least a little bit. I felt a bit better after that. Suddenly, hope struck me from nowhere. It wasn't hope that I'd be likely to leave this place safely. Rather that I just didn't want to believe that everything is as bad as that guy told me. Good morning. I heard a faint voice coming from the woods. Someone stood behind a tree. Morning. Are you ready? Ready for what? I looked again, and it seemed like it was the pioneer from the bus stop yesterday. Indeed, I was prepared for such weirdness today, so I wasn't really surprised and started this conversation quite clear-headed. You didn't believe him, did you? What are you talking about? Everything that he said. Right, but what is your opinion on what's happening? I'd already distanced myself from the outside world, and decided to treat everything happening to me just like a fictional film, not reality. Hopefully, it would give me more room to move around in terms of situational logic analysis. If there is an exit, there has to be, he said excitedly. I don't know, but I'd like to believe that too. If you just... Semyon! I turned around. Savio was standing right next to me. Who are you talking to? No one. Just talking to myself. In a way, you kind of are. I hardly think it's worth telling her about aliens from parallel worlds. They're not aliens, it's parallel worlds, not fucking different planets. She probably can't even see them anyway. Have you prepared already? Prepared? For another hike? No. Today's the last day of the session. What? A stupid smile settled on my face. There will be a bus this evening. We're leaving. Holy cow. I was ready for even the most incredible of twists, but what a twist! Was this what that mysterious pioneer was talking about? Probably it was. Well, apparently I'll have to go for a second lap and live yet another week in this camp. But this time I know everything. I haven't packed yet. It's not like I have much to pack anyway. Okay. Slavia shifted her gaze. Seemed like she wanted to say something, but hesitated. Well, see you then. Yeah. I had to ask when we're leaving at least. Oh fuck, too late. I went to the square with the intention of discovering that. There's gotta be someone I know there. But, believe it or not, there was only Gendo waiting for me at the square. Probably all the pioneers are busy with packing. I took a seat on a bench and just stared at the sky. Turns out that today I just have to wait for the departure, pass out on the bus, and wake up in this camp again, just like the first day. Everything was drowning in silence. It's exactly that time of a summer day, when the sun seems stuck in the sky, the birds and crickets have gone for an after lunch doze, and the wind is saving its energy to deliver long-awaited coolness to people in the evening. Suddenly crossed my mind that I haven't just missed lunch, but I haven't had any breakfast either. It was ridiculous to search for anything in the canteen. The pioneers had surely cleaned up everything just before the departure. I scratched my head and made my way to Olga's cabin. Surely there should be something edible in the table's drawer. Why do you think that? Someone called for me just as I approached the door. Sherrick and Electronics swiftly approached the cabin. Are you already packed up? Already packed up, I answered, imitating him. You haven't quite been yourself the last few days. What makes you say that? How should I know? You'd know better. I mean, why are you so concerned? No reason. A real pioneer always treats a comrade's problems as his own. I cast a skeptical look at him. Thanks for your concern. I'm fine. There actually was half a loaf of stale bread and a piece of smoked sausage in the drawer. Why the fuck is that in the drawer? Seriously. What? I ate everything with deliberate pleasure, washing it down with smelly water that Olga probably used to water the plants. Just as I finished, someone started knocking on the door. Come in. Liana rushed into the room. Oh, it's just you, she said disappointedly. And who did you expect to see? A circus complete with bears? Liana giggled. Where's Olga? Dunno, I shrugged. Why not? I don't know, because I don't know. What do you want from her anyway? Gotta ask something before the departure. Okay, I'll tell her that you were searching for her if I see her. By the way, why aren't you packing up? Like I have much to pack. Well, see you. She cracked a sly smile and bounded out of the cabin, slamming the door behind her. And still, it's really strange that nobody seems to be puzzled by the sudden departure. And why am I the only one who was not expecting it? Because it was told that they knew before they came here. Like everyone really cares if I've packed my things up, that too. As well as that, doesn't anyone care that it's the last time we're seeing each other? The words of that guy in the forest yesterday about all the camp's tenants being unreal suddenly sprang into mind. Well, right now I'm more ready to believe it than ever. The desk drawer where I found my breakfast contained lots of odds and ends. I grabbed a pencil and a piece of paper, examined them for some time, and then slipped them into my pocket. Just in case. I had no intention of watching over all the pioneers running around and packing, so I just lay on my bed and didn't even notice how I dazed off. It was somebody's voice that woke me up. A familiar pioneer. well, which one of them, was sitting directly opposite, with his back to me. I'd gotten used to him a bit since yesterday, and it even seemed that I stopped fearing him. Hey, why do you always hide your face? Because you shouldn't see it. If you say so. I wasn't in a position to argue. So, what are you going to reveal this time? You already know that it's the last day of the session, don't you? Yep. And you've already spoken with that one. Yep. So, what did he tell you? Nothing special. He said that there's an exit out of here. The pioneer burst into laughter. Yeah, I believed that too ages ago. And now? And what is now? I have my past, my life back then. He stopped talking for some time. Anyway, it all was a long while ago, so I don't really remember. The future is all the same. Loops, loops, loops. Repetitions of the same story. Where is this now? Well, I hate to say it, but I'm not yet as lost in time as you are. Oh, that's nothing. That'll come with time. He broke into diabolic laughter. There's just one thing I don't understand. What's your reason for coming to me? What do you expect to achieve? Me? Nothing really. So why did you come then? It's just because you, him and others like us, are the only real people around here. Given everything he'd said to me already, I just wasn't ready to believe that all the local lieutenants are just puppets in some kind of hellish stage play. Are you sure that you're right? Right about what? Well, that you're right about everything. I can't be right or wrong. I didn't choose this world. I didn't throw myself into it. I'm just here. And you're just here. Listen, I've already got a headache from your philosophizing. I'm not sure if that's an actual word. I was kind of puzzled myself as to why I was so calm talking to this mysterious pioneer. But we are out of time for today. We'll have to end this here. I have a quick message before you go. Don't close the video yet. I am on vacation right now. This video comes out, I think Friday? Yeah, I think it's Friday. So Monday and Wednesday. I'm leaving Wednesday and I'm coming back Wednesday. So Monday and Wednesday next week won't have a video. Perhaps I'll do the weekend thing that I did with Miku's route when I started Miku's route and just do one every day for that weekend. But yeah, we'll be continuing again on Friday. I'm just gonna have all these things uploading on their own. Just yeah. So I'll leave you at that. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.